Welcome to the Explainers. So thrilled you're here. Today, we're kicking off a brand new chapter, Module 1, covering core systems, networks, and compliance. Our goal for this explainer is incredibly straightforward, but honestly, it's absolutely fascinating. We're going to uncover the foundational physics of how computers talk, how they store data, and how they operate legally within secure frameworks. We're starting right at the absolute beginning, pulling back the curtain on the invisible highways of the internet. Picture this for a second. Imagine you're visiting a massive, high-security bank. If you wanted to break into this bank, as an ethical hacker testing its defenses, where would you even begin? Well, before you can hack a highly secure system, you have to deeply understand how the front doors actually operate. You need to know how the clerks pass papers around, how the building manager organizes the filing cabinets, and exactly who has the keys to the vault. You've got to understand the system perfectly before you can find its flaws. Now, this module is expansive. It covers OSI models, TCP/IP, Linux and Windows administration, and strict compliance frameworks like SOC 2 and ISO 27118. But for today's explainer, we're starting with the purest networking physics. Okay, let's dive into this. When you load up a website or send a chat message, your computer doesn't just heave one giant, heavy file across the internet. That'd be practically impossible to manage. Instead, it literally chops your data down into millions of tiny pieces called packets. You can think of these packets as individual digital letters folded up inside tiny envelopes, just continuously being mailed across the world. Part 1. The blueprint. Locating the building with IP addresses. Let's take the very first step in our bank heist analogy. If we're dealing with all of these millions of digital envelopes, how do we figure out where they actually need to go? We need a way to locate our target building. Every single device connected to the internet, your phone, your laptop, a massive banking server, needs a unique identifier. This is your IP address. It's exactly like a physical home mailing address. It's the 123 Main Street, apartment 4 of the digital world, a totally precise location on the global map. And here's why this is the absolute first thing an ethical hacker looks for. If you don't know the address, you can't find the doors. If a hacker doesn't know a company's IP addresses, they have zero idea where the digital building is even located. They can't run tests, they can't look for vulnerabilities, and they certainly can't start their reconnaissance. The IP address is literally the starting line. Part 2. The courier. Choosing your delivery method. So we have our digital envelopes, and we have the exact physical address of the bank we're sending them to. The next logical question is, how do we want these envelopes delivered? You essentially have two main options, and the contrast between them is wild. First up, we have TCP, or Transmission Control Protocol. TCP is like sending registered mail with a signature required. Your computer meticulously calls the server, shakes hands, and says, "Hey, I'm sending you 3 packets." The server carefully replies, "I got packet 1, I got packet 2, wait." If a packet gets lost in the mud along the way, the server screams, "Hey, mail packet 2 again." It is incredibly precise. Now contrast that with UDP, the User Datagram Protocol. UDP is a t-shirt cannon at a sports stadium. The server just fires packets at your face as fast as possible. It doesn't stop to check if you caught them, and it really doesn't care if 3 of those packets land straight in the trash can. It just keeps firing. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly when and why we use each method. We use TCP for websites, text messages, and bank transfers, because every single piece of data must arrive perfectly. If a 0 gets dropped from your bank transfer, well, that's a catastrophe. TCP verifies delivery and resends lost data. But we use UDP for live video streams, online gaming, and voice calls. Why? Because speed matters way more than a few dropped frames. If you lose a tiny packet of audio during a voice call, the voice just skips for a millisecond, but the conversation keeps moving in real time. Part 3. The floor plan. Navigating networking ports. Okay, let's expand our blueprint. Your computer only has one IP address, one physical building address. But think about what you do every day. You might be watching a YouTube video, checking your email, and playing an online game all at the exact same time. How on earth does your computer sort all these incoming envelopes and know which one goes to which app? It uses networking ports. If the IP address is the street address of the massive bank building, you can think of a port as an apartment room number or a highly specific doorway on that building. It's the sorting mechanism that ensures your YouTube video data doesn't accidentally get shoved into your email inbox. In the world of networking, there are exactly 65,535 virtual ports on every single computer. Just let that sink in for a second. Tens of thousands of potential doors on every device waiting to send or receive information.
Now, what's really interesting here is that, by default, certain services always hang out behind the exact same doors. System administrators rely heavily on this standardization. Port 80 is for HTTP. This is the unencrypted front lobby for basic websites. Anyone walking by can just look through the glass doors and see what you're doing. Port 443 is HTTPS. This is the secure encrypted front door. Your data goes into a locked steel box before passing through. Port 22 is SSH. This is the secure back entrance used by remote administrators to log into Linux servers across the world. Think of it as the heavily guarded loading dock for armored trucks. And port 25? That's simply the mailroom slot for routing email.
Part 4. The reconnaissance. The hacker's first move. So, we know the address, we know how the mail is delivered, and we know there are over 65,000 doors on the building. How does an ethical hacker actually put this all together to plan their entry? They do something called port scanning. When a hacker targets a company's IP address, they don't just guess. They run specialized tools, like a popular one called Nmap, which essentially walks right up to the digital building and rapidly rattles all 65,535 doors to see which ones have been left unlocked by the administrators. The stakes of what they find during the scan are absolutely monumental. If they rattle the doors and find port 80 is open, they know they can attempt to attack the public-facing website. But if they rattle the doors and find port 22 is open and exposed to the public internet, remember, that's the armored truck entrance. They know they can sit there and try to guess the administrator's password to completely take over the entire server. Literally, a single exposed port can compromise the entire organization.
Part 5. The payoff. Executing a secure bank transaction.
Let's see how this all builds together into something you do every single day. Imagine you want to securely check your bank balance online right now. Here is the invisible physics making that happen. Step 1. Your computer looks up the bank's IP address to know exactly where on the internet to send your request. Step 2. It chooses the TCP delivery method, actively shaking hands with the server because we absolutely cannot afford to lose any financial data packets along the way. Step 3. Your computer walks up to the bank's IP address and specifically knocks on port 443. It demands the secure, encrypted, locked steel box connection, ensuring that absolutely no one can spy on your password while it travels. All of this happens in milliseconds. Understanding this blueprint, the IP addresses, the TCP handshakes, the specific numbered ports, is the foundation of everything from basic web browsing to managing complex Linux servers and maintaining strict SOC 2 compliance. Because at the end of the day, security comes down to knowing your own floor plan better than the attackers do. So I'll leave you with this to think about. If a hacker walked up and rattled your digital doors right now, which ones are unlocked? Thanks for joining me for this explainer, and I'll catch you in the next module.